Snails have one of the craziest sleeping patterns in the world. They can catch some Z's for an hour or two and then stay awake for 30 hours at a time. These animals also have bizarre hibernation periods. Those can last for several years. And if you saute them with some garlic, they are delicious. Coyotes and badgers often hunt together. Badgers know how to get prey out of its burrows, and coyotes are skilled at chasing animals on the ground. Plus, badgers have a heightened sense of smell, and coyotes have excellent vision. Their cooperation works like this. A badger digs out a small critter and makes it run toward a coyote that's waiting nearby. And dinner is served. Doesn't say which critter gets the first bite. The whale shark, one of the largest fish in the world, has several thousand tiny teeth. It uses them to eat veggies. The shark is a filter feeder and prefers to munch on plants, algae, and plankton. The plankton are not happy about this, but such is life. Lots of people start laughing after they sneeze several times in a row. That's because sneezing makes you happy. When you do it, your body releases endorphins. Those are hormones responsible for dealing with stress. Owls are so flexible they can twist their heads in almost a full circle. All thanks to the fact that their heads are connected to their body by only one socket pivot. People have two of those, and it seriously limits our abilities. Owls also have many vertebrae, tiny bones that make up the spine and neck. It's another thing that helps them to perform their head swiveling trick. Oh yeah, they have to move their entire head because owls can't move their eyes around. The sea level is different throughout the world, and the world's ocean surface isn't flat. It's because of the winds and the difference in gravity. It's influenced by the mass of underwater mountains. Most astronauts claim space smells like searing steak or barbecue. That's exactly the odor that hangs around after someone finishes a spacewalk. But some space explorers are sure it smells like heated metal. Or maybe heated metal or searing steak smells like space. I mean, what was there first? Your most vivid dreams happen during REM, rapid eye movement sleep. This stage doesn't last long and happens 90 to 120 minutes apart throughout the night. During REM sleep, most of the voluntary muscles in your body get paralyzed. This way, you can't harm yourself while acting out a dream. Except when you fall out of bed. Trust me, it's weird. There are waterfalls in the ocean. They occur when there is a big difference in water temperature. Then, colder water flows down and under warmer and therefore less dense layers. The largest known waterfall on Earth lies between Iceland and Greenland. The giant is 11,500 feet tall. The world's largest sand image was as big as 12 Olympic-sized swimming pools and could be seen from space. It was created in 2019 in Dubai. It took the artists more than 2,400 hours to finish their work.
The Statue of Liberty is a very popular sight, and thousands of tourists see it every day. However, there is something about the statue that many people overlook. The monument was presented to the USA by the people of France. It symbolizes freedom. This is the reason why a broken chain lies at the feet of the statue. It's a sort of metaphor that only a few people notice.
A hole in the center of a spaghetti spoon exists not only to strain water, but also to measure a portion of spaghetti. That hole fits exactly one serving. If you grab a beverage in a glass bottle at the base, your drink will get warmer because of the body heat. That's why most of them have long necks. Carrying a bottle by the neck keeps your beverage chill. Besides, holding it that way is just easier. However, don't do this with your kids. The square-shaped spoon that goes with McFlurry helps to mix the ice cream toppings through the dessert. The spoon hooks directly into a machine and spins around. However, don't do this with your kids. Ever forgot which side your gas tank was on? That's what a small arrow or a triangle on your dashboard is for. If it points left, the gas tank door is on the left. If it points right, that's right, it's on the right, alright? Padlocks that are used outside quickly get out of order because of the rain. See this little hole in the bottom? It's made for pouring engine oil inside. Do this, and the key will again turn in the lock without any difficulty. The small disc under the lid of plastic water and soda bottles creates a seal that keeps both liquid and carbonation inside. Without it, your soda would go flat pretty fast. Many doors have knobs made of brass because brass prevents the spread of germs. That little hole on the top of a lollipop stick is there to make it hard for the candy to come off of the stick. When the melted candy is poured into the mold, some of it will seep into the hole and harden. You keep banging the bottle of a glass ketchup jar, but nothing's coming out. Here's a little tip. Turn your ketchup bottle at an angle and tap on the middle of the neck. 21 out of the 25 most venomous snakes in the world just happen to live in Australia. Australia's saltwater crocodiles are the largest reptiles in the world, growing up to 20 feet long. That's half as long as a school bus. They're also some of the oldest, appearing over 240 million years ago. Crocs like living in Australia's murky swamp waters and can hold their breath for up to an hour. So, if you're walking along the water's edge and don't see a crocodile, that doesn't mean it isn't there. As huge as they are, crocs can swim up to 20 miles per hour, so forget about outswimming one. They have special valves in their mouths that keep water from flooding in, so they can quickly swim a long way without coming up for air. Another unique reptile found in Australia is the thorny dragon. It's a small lizard whose entire body is covered in, you guessed it, raised thorny skin. This is its defense against predators. Don't worry, buddy, I wouldn't want to take a bite. Australia is home to about 2,400 species of spiders. Not all of them are venomous, but some are extremely dangerous, like the Sydney funnel web spider. It's the country's most venomous, with a bite that causes damage to internal organs and major body tissues. The antidote was made widely available in 1981, so as long as you get to the hospital ASAP, you'll be fine. Let's not forget about local sea life. Australia's oceans boast 4,000 different kinds of fish and 1,700 species of coral. It's home to the famous Great Barrier Reef, after all. Lots of different sharks, stingrays, turtles, and dolphins can be found in Australia's oceans too. With all that biodiversity, this place is a hotspot for divers. There are also some pretty weird alien-like creatures in Australia's oceans. Fireworms with their short stinging tentacles and sea urchins that have strange and sometimes poisonous colorful spines. There are more than 24 time zones in the world, which means that not all of them are exactly 1 hour apart from each other. And that's true. Many time zones have only a 30 or 45-minute difference from the neighboring ones. Remember to tell me in the comments below about the time zone you live in. Despite a popular misconception, when you lose weight, your fat cells don't just disappear into thin air. Nope, they just become smaller. And vice versa. When you gain some additional pounds, your fat cells grow in size. The mimic octopus has a perfect defense system. It can not only change its color, but also take the shapes of other animals. For example, flounders, sea snakes, or lionfish. If you decided to save a few bucks by charging your smartphone less often, let me disappoint you. To charge a cell phone, you need teeny amounts of electricity. That's why the maximum amount of money you can save within a year is less than $1. The world's population is constantly growing, and a lot of people find it a bit concerning. But what if I tell you that all those 7.5 billion people living on Earth right now stood shoulder to shoulder, they would occupy just 500 square miles, which is the same as the territory of Los Angeles. Now this huge number sounds more manageable, right? McDonald's once created bubblegum-flavored broccoli to encourage kids to eat more healthily. Sadly, the experiment didn't end successfully. Child testers were terribly confused by the taste. The weird broccoli was a failure. Couldn't see that coming, huh? The microbes living inside humans turn out to be way more diverse than researchers previously thought. And what's even worse, almost 99% of them are unknown to science. Well, that's disturbing. The first oranges that were brought from Southeast Asia weren't orange. It was a tangerine pomelo hybrid, and its color was green. In the 18th century, sugar was so expensive that only rich people could afford it. And when someone had a black decayed tooth, they were considered the crème de la crème, or a big deal. Ooh, how times have changed. Sonic the Hedgehog was put in the Guinness Book of Records for being the fastest video game character of all time. After all, he runs faster than the speed of light. Our noses can detect more than 1 trillion smells. Sounds impressive, but a dog's sniffer can detect 10,000 times more than that. While humans can smell if there's a teaspoon of sugar in their coffee, a dog can smell a teaspoon of sugar in 1 million gallons of water. Goats were the first to discover coffee's energizing effects. They started feeding on coffee beans and got hyperactive for the rest of the day. The goat owner noticed this and spread the word. The average person will grow almost 600 miles of hair over a lifetime. That's twice as long as the atmosphere is thick. 2 billion pencils are manufactured every year in the US alone. If you laid them all on the ground end to end, they'd circle the Earth's equator 9 times. And each of those pencils can write 45,000 words and draw a line that's over 30 miles long. The difference between mass and weight is that your mass is always the same, but your weight changes depending on your location. So, if you weigh 100 pounds on Earth, you'd only be 38 pounds on Mars. Have you ever thrown an apple in a river and seen it float? That's because it's 23% air. In the 1800s, cowboys used to wear their watches on chains. To keep them protected, a brand introduced the tiny little pockets we have on our jeans today. Peanuts aren't nuts. They belong to the botanical family of Fabaceae, which are legumes. Mars' daytime sky is dusty red, and its dusks are a beautiful shade of blue. Martians themselves are little and green. The founders of Portland both wanted to name it after their hometowns. They decided to flip a coin, and if it landed the other way around, the city would be named Boston. According to some studies, dogs can easily smell a specific scent that cancer produces in a person. Cats have 2 separate sets of vocal cords. They use one of them for purring and another one for meowing, just like narrators. The Apollo astronauts who got to fly to the moon had to go through U.S. Customs after they got back. Yeah, it was a joke, those funny NASA guys. Sweat itself doesn't have any odor at all. It's the bacteria on your skin that breaks it down and causes it to smell bad. Barbie doll's full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts. So she's really Barbie Millie Bob. The Twitter logo bird also has a name, Larry. It was named after Larry Bird, a former NBA player who used to play for one of the Twitter co-founders' home state team. A British study stated that, on average, children ask about 300 questions, or 1 question every 2.5 minutes every day. It is possible to sneeze with your eyes open. It's just that most of the time, your blinking instinct naturally kicks in. Yeah, I've sprayed my windshield a few times myself. If you keep a goldfish in a dark room, it'll eventually become a bit paler. There are more fake flamingos in the world than real ones. Most of them vacation in Miami. Contagious yawning can occur if you hear, see, or even think about yawning. And it's not only humans who are affected by it, chimpanzees experience this too. So does my dog.